Hi, everyone. Meteorologist Bill Rentschler in the 1011 Now streaming studio. It's Thursday, and that means we have a new drought monitor that was released. So we'll take a look at the latest drought conditions across the state. Again, last week we saw good news with a lot of reduction in drought conditions across parts of central and western Nebraska. Unfortunately, this week is kind of back to the bad news trend as, again, we continue to see very dry conditions across the area, again, especially for central eastern Nebraska for the month of May and really for the meteorological spring season. So if we take a look at the graphics again for the month of May, again, we're 24 days in now, on May 25th now, and there's a chance for some scattered rain out there today. We would take anything we can get because in Lincoln specifically, we've only had 49/100ths of an inch of precipitation so far this May, and if the month were to end today, we would be tied for the driest May on record with just 49/100ths. Again, we would need, again, almost an inch just to get us out of the top 10 in terms of driest Mays on record, and you can see there at the very bottom, 2023 year to date, again, 4 1/3 inches precipitation to date. That's the 7th driest start to the year that we've ever had. So again, very dry this May. It's been very dry this meteorological spring season, which again is March, April, and May. Again, for those 3 months in Lincoln, we've had a buck 71 in terms of precipitation. That is the 3rd driest. Again, so again, very dry conditions over the past several weeks, over the past several months as well. And again, that's reflected in our drought monitor that was released earlier this morning. So this is a look at what the drought monitor looked like 1 week ago. Again, we had good news. There was a lot of reduction in drought, severe extreme drought across the panhandle, western Nebraska, southwestern Nebraska, but we did see some expansion in drought conditions for eastern sections of the state, and that's currently, again, where the worst drought conditions are across parts of northeastern and eastern Nebraska with extreme and exceptional drought. So this is what it looked like 1 week ago, and this is what it looks like this week. So we've seen areas of exceptional drought continue to expand further to the south into parts of York and Seward counties. Extreme drought also expanding further to the south into parts of south central Nebraska. Severe drought, again, expanding into, continuing to expand into parts of Lancaster County as well. So again, nothing really changed for much of central and western Nebraska, but again, eastern Nebraska continues to see deteriorating drought conditions. If you look at the numbers specifically, again, percentage of the state under abnormally dry or moderate drought conditions stayed the same, but we did see, again, a slight increase in severe drought across parts of Lancaster County and about a 2% increase in extreme drought as well as exceptional drought across parts of eastern and northeastern Nebraska. So again, conditions remain pretty tough across much of the area. If you look at the drought monitor over the course of the past year, again, you can see the pretty dramatic drop we had in extreme drought conditions last week. Unfortunately, again, things stayed the same last week and then have ticked back up. Again, at least slightly this week in terms of extreme drought and exceptional drought. So again, continue to be in this sort of long-term drought. Have had some questions about, is this similar to 2012 when we had widespread extreme and exceptional drought across the state? That was more of a flash drought, came on really quickly, very suddenly. The drought we're in now is more of a long-term drought. So again, we need some pretty serious moisture to dig out of these drought conditions. 7-day precipitation potential, again, looks good, again, for parts of western Nebraska, again, where they could see a couple inches of rain over the next week. But again, areas that probably need it the most, eastern and northeastern Nebraska, the 7-day precipitation potential, again, not that exciting for us. Again, we're looking at maybe a tenth, quarter, half an inch of moisture being possible over the next 7 days. Certainly not enough to really put a serious dent in the drought conditions. Again, we average probably between about a tenth to 2/10 of moisture a day in late May and into early June. So again, we're going to be losing more than we're going to be getting with only getting a quarter to a half an inch over the course of the next week. The longer range outlooks, the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook from the Climate Prediction Center takes us through the very end of May into the first few days of June, does favor above average precipitation across much of the state. So again, something we'll continue to keep our eyes on. The longer range than that, the 8 to 14 day outlook, again, taking us through the June 2nd through the June 8th time period, also does favor above average precipitation, again, for central and western Nebraska, but for eastern Nebraska, it's kind of equal chances for either above or below average precipitation. So something we'll have to continue to monitor in the forecast as we head over the course of the next week. But again, kind of the summary there is again, drought conditions continue to worsen across parts of eastern Nebraska. Desperately need some of that rain as we continue to move into the growing season. And unfortunately, it's just not been in the cards. And again, the forecast over the course of the next week, there's some small rain chances, but no widespread moisture that looks like it would make a serious dent in those drought conditions. So again, this is what the drought monitor looked like last week. week. And this is the current conditions, again, with the expansion of extreme drought into south central Nebraska, severe drought into parts of eastern Lancaster County, and exceptional drought. Again, the highest category of drought conditions across parts of Seward, York, Butler, and Polk counties as well. So we'll continue to monitor, again, those drought conditions, continue to keep you up to date with the very latest, and make sure you keep it tuned to 1011 both on air and online for all the latest details.